And just when we were about to go on to the other item on the program lineup, I said I will also recognize some of our friends, at least friends of the National Orientation Agency, who are here to be a part of this process this morning. Please, can we usher Professor Tony Iredia to this end of the hall, please? Another former Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Professor Tony Iredia, former Director General of the Nigerian Television Authority, now grooming young minds in communication, media, and related issues. Thank you very much, Professor Tony Iredia. We welcome you. And I was saying that our friends are also in the house. I have cited my very good friend and brother, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, Dean Postgraduate Studies at the Bayes University. You're most welcome, sir. Thank you. Just a bit of housekeeping to say that where we are is the this day dome. So apart from the main entrance, there are some other outlets to our right or to our left, as the case may be. And if we need to use the convenience, we need just to step out towards the right, that is to my left, towards the right where you are seated, and you'll be directed as appropriate to the convenience. All protocols duly observed. Thank you.
Okay. All right, at this moment, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the Director General of National Orientation Agency as he takes his welcome address. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Madam Lanre Isa Onilu as he makes his way to the podium.
Thank you, thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it. The Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, the Chief Executives of FRCN, NAN, Press Council, VON, ACON, MBC, and NTA, my leaders, former Director Generals of the National Orientation Agency, I most sincerely thank you for honoring this invitation and for keeping the flag flying. I would please seek your indulgence to mention their names one after the other. I have here with me and with us in this hall a distinguished personality, the man who bet what we are here to celebrate today, Professor Jerry Gana. If you are a governor, if you are a Director General, thank you. We have Chief Tony Iredia. Sometimes it is difficult to know where to start talking about him because he's a man who has traversed several industries in communication, in law, and in humanity. So we have the privilege and pleasure of welcoming Chief Tony Iredia to this hall. Our distinguished Alhaji Idi Farouk, that name has been around for a very long time, all for good. We are happy that you are here today. We are happy for all that you have done for this country and especially for the National Orientation Agency. My brother, Chief Mike Omeri, it's my pleasure to have you here. Even outside of office, he has been still doing his best to keep the family together. He has a saying, in and out of office, we are a family. Thank you very much for that. And I especially welcome my brother, Dr. Garba Abari. I've had a working relationship with him even before NOA. And he's a man that we are very close, and we've shared a lot together. I thank you for coming today. I welcome all our directors and deputy directors from across the country, the staff, our distinguished guests, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I'm pleased to address you all at this extended management retreat, where we aim to strategize and enhance our capabilities through a shared vision to deliver on our dual mandate of communicating government policies, programs, and projects, and lead Nigeria's quest for a common national identity through value orientation. Over the past 10 months, we have diligently revamped NOA structures and platforms. This was a crucial step in revitalizing our personnel and tools, which had been adversely affected by years of government neglect. It's disheartening that such a vital institution was allowed for so long, abandoned by government. But we are now on the path of rejuvenation, filling us all with hope and positivity. NOA is undergoing a significant restructuring and demonstrating its adaptability to the changing population landscape. Nigeria had a more balanced demographic during the MAMSA. However, in the last 3 decades, the Nigerian demographics have shifted dramatically, with youth 45 years and below constituting 93% of the country's population. This profound shift has not gone unnoticed by NOA, and we are actively adjusting our strategies to effectively engage this new majority. Not only are the youths in the dominant majority now, but they are also in control of the new media. The new channels of engagement and networking come with a new level of empowerment and control that did not exist, for instance, in 1991. No YouTube, no Facebook, no Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, and other communication vehicles during the era of MAMSA, for instance. Communication was linear, distinguishing between those who generate and disseminate content and those who receive it. Not even the now popular radio phone-in was in existence. The ownership structure was clear-cut. Publishers and proprietors of the media were distinct, with government media more dominant, especially in the broadcast sector. Today, not anymore. Anyone can be a player in content generation and deployment, giving the youth and the public a voice and a platform to be heard. The challenge for an agency like NOA comes with the new, almost unfettered citizens' access and control. The area when MAMSA staff could go around the communities with public address systems mounted on their vehicles appears now ancient. The media landscape is different now. The audience states are diverse. The communication tools are innumerable. It is a paradigm shift. The beats have changed. The dancing steps are out of tune unless they adjust to the rhythms. Considering the new realities, NOA has been proactive in the last 10 months, embarking on massive retooling and building on the foundation the past Director Generals laid. We understand the need for modern platforms that can assist us in interacting with Nigerians. Towards realizing this need, on Wednesday, March 20th, 2024, the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Idris, launched the NOA mobile app called the Mobilizer in Kano. The Mobilizer has many crucial features for engaging with Nigerians, particularly the Nigerian youth. The Mobilizer app, available for download on both the Play Store and Apple Store, and has also strengthened our ability to deliver on our mandate to generate citizens' feedback for the government. The new NOA television and radio studios are also ready. The studios will enhance our capacity to produce news, features, analysis, and sectoral programs on government policies, and the Explainer newsletter is another engagement platform that NOA has implemented in the last 4 months. Taking advantage of our presence in every corner of the country, we have built enormous data resources. For instance, we have the contact details of thousands of chairpersons and secretaries of trade, artisanal, community development associations, and civil society in all the local government areas, through whom we are reaching their numerous members, such as yam sellers, onion sellers, farmers, barbers, tailors, electricians, auto mechanics, carpenter, Okada riders, etc. We are soon to commence the deployment of strategic audiovisual materials on government policies, programs, targeting millions of members of these associations in different languages. But we are even further ahead in applying modern technologies to enhance our work. On July 1st, this year, we launched NOA's Artificial Voice and Chat Assistant called CLEAN. CLEAN is an innovative solution to the challenges posed by the new media landscape. It is an acronym for NOA's thematic activities on crime, lawlessness, health, education, environment, abuse, and nationalism. It encapsulates NOA's commitment to tackling various issues that will clean Nigeria of societal and behavioral ills. Beyond this, CLEAN is an alter ego of the ideal Nigerian who will be with us to help understand NOA's activities, what our government is doing, and how we can get involved. We believe that by providing this platform for engagement, we are not just informing, but also valuing the input and participation of every Nigerian. Nigerians can engage and interact with CLEAN. CLEAN can answer questions about government policies, programs, projects, and provide information about citizens' rights and responsibilities. CLEAN is on your mobile devices and computers to meet your information needs. CLEAN is an ideal citizen and soon to be launched Nigeria superhero who will demonstrate what it is like to be a real Nigerian. So we have done audience analysis identify the media habit of each segment, and develop the media vehicles to deliver government messages. Our actions are based on a comprehensive communication audit to ensure effective and accountable communication. We have robust systems at NOA to support President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration in delivering the Renew Hope agenda and mobilizing Nigerians to support the National Identity Project. The weeks and months ahead will show that NOA is committed to a brighter future for Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in line with the Renew Hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we have instituted a profound value orientation policy, the National Identity Project, NIP, a springboard for our country's socio-economic and political transformation has been implemented. NIP embodies the National Values Charter with its twin components of the Nigerian Promise and the Citizens' Codes of Conduct, what we call the 747 reciprocal commitment of the country and the citizens. We have also developed 7 socialization processes. The need for a national value system that clearly defines a Nigerian's personality speaks to the psychological needs of the citizens who must be emotionally connected to the country. This is what the National Values Charter seeks to achieve. Actual development cannot occur unless the citizens have a shared positive sentiment. And there cannot be a shared positive sentiment unless the country motivates the citizens' beliefs and patriotism. There are 2 significant differentiators between the past and present endeavors. Firstly, the commitment is now a collaborative venture. Unlike in the past, when the country placed the burden solely on the citizens, this time it is a shared responsibility between our nation and the citizens. Secondly, the current effort is not a fleeting government policy. It is meticulously designed with institutional structures for a lasting implementation, a testament to our collective dedication. At NOA, we have meticulously crafted 7 value orientation programs, each with a specific focus and purpose. This year, we are set to deploy 4 of these impactful programs. We are excited about what is coming. NOA's enormous infrastructure across the country is being revived for optimal performance. Our focus in all of this is to institute a direct line of communication between the government and the citizens. NOA recognizes the need to bridge the gap and establish an open dialogue with the public. Through some initiatives the NOA has recently taken, we seek to foster interactive approach, allowing citizens to voice their concerns and provide feedback and create parameters to hold both the leadership and the citizens accountable. I want to especially recognize the tremendous effort of the past Director Generals of NOA, without which our modest achievement would have been impossible. On behalf of our country and the agency you all led with dedication and passion, I thank you most sincerely for your services. We are grateful. Once again, I welcome our directors and deputy directors to this critical retreat. In the next 3 days, I urge you to learn and teach as much as possible. But please remember to socialize, make new friends, and strengthen the bond of the NOA family. I sincerely recognize our very supportive chairman of the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation. He is a brother who constantly is looking after us, and our interest is uppermost in his mind. We thank you sincerely. I thank my colleague DGs for gracing this occasion. Thanks for all the support you have been giving to us at NOA. I thank our guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your presence and welcome you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director General. And moving on, we'd like to recognize the presence of NOA headquarter directors. May I recognize the presence of the Director of Special Duties and State Operations, Mr. David Akoji. A round of applause for him, please. Okay. Director, Orientation and Behavior, Barrister Tessie Inalwe. A round of applause for her. Director, Procurement, Mr. Kenneth Onyejepu. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Director of Public Enlightenment and Mass Mobilization, Mrs. Tessie Madwekwe. A round of applause for her, please. Director, Political, Civic, Ethics and Values, Mrs. Adeola Adelaja. Director, Documentation, Translation and Publication, John Bala Asate. Director of Finance and Account, Mr. Sule Haruna. Director, Human Resource and Management, Mrs. Ayisola Olowoyo. Director, Reforms, Coordination and Service Improvement, Mrs. Olubukola Olorunfemi. Director, Planning, Research and Strategy, PRS, Alhaji Nuhu Kobe. A round of applause, please. All right, we have the presence of Mr. Rabiu Ibrahim, Special Assistant Media to the Minister of Information and National Orientation. A round of applause, please, ladies and gentlemen. Also, we have representing Mrs. Abiodun Eshet, SSA to the President on Community Engagement, North Central, represented by Mr. Amza Abdullahi. A round of applause, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Quite a batch of microphones here, you know. May we also welcome and specially recognize the founding executive director, African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development, Dr. Otive Igbuzo. Thank you very much, Dr. Igbuzo. Please, what part of the hall are you so that we can... I think you should step... Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good to see you again. Most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister, Information and National Orientation, our chief host, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency. We're building on a foundation that the founding fathers and mothers established. And that's why their presence here this morning is a thing of joy. Because part of this process is that they are here to water the plant which seeds they sowed in the soil of Nigeria very many years ago. And so, for our goodwill messages, we shall have the benefit of the wisdom and the guidance of former Directors General of the National Orientation Agency, beginning from when it started and it was recognized as MAMSA, Mass Mobilization for etc., etc., etc. But today is the National Orientation Agency. And so, most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please let's put our hands together as we invite the most distinguished Nigerian, a former Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, former Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, the founding Director General of the National Orientation Agency when it was MAMSA. Let's welcome Professor Jerry Gana. Let's welcome you. Just watch that, please. Please watch the steps, sir. Okay, sir. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Good to see you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
So, how many minutes we have? 1 minute? 2 minutes?
Sir, is your phone. Let me help you with that.
The Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, my very, very dear brother, kindly join me. Put your hands together for the Honorable Minister of Information. Can I hear you? Can I hear you? The very distinguished Director General of the National Orientation Agency, thank you very much for this invitation. I said I have to be here, although I have another function very, very soon, but I said I'll be here even for just a second. I thank God for it. Very distinguished Senator and Chairman of the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation, we appreciate you. My former colleagues, Directors General of the National Orientation Agency, all of you, these men are wonderful people, great people. They've done very, very well. Kindly put your hands together for all of them. I asked the moderator to say, how many minutes do I have? 1 minute, 2 minutes? He said I should just go on. So please, if I go on and on and on, don't blame me. I want to assure you, I'll just make a brief remark. I'd like to congratulate the Director General for this very, very important management retreat. From the way he spoke, he has redefined the Nigerian space. When we were in MAMSA, the space was not as dynamic as this, not as widespread as this, and the composition, although was growing youthfully, it is now more massively youthful than when we were in orientation. Therefore, your new space is so dynamic, you don't have a position anymore. So repositioning may be wrong because out there are in various directions. If I were you, I think you should concentrate and agree with both yourselves and the national leadership of the nation now, which is the direction we should be moving. Once you define the direction, don't reposition MAMSA, don't reposition national orientation, just get them to be ready and strategically release them. Because they will now be looking after so many sectors of the nation. It's so dynamic. When you define all the media position now, in our days, maybe we only had television and radio, and that is why we used to go around with our MAMSA vehicles and microphones and speaking to the people. But I want to assure you this. The human person is a social being. They still like to congregate. See what we have here. Therefore, don't neglect the gathering together of people. They will still lie together and to exchange ideas and exchange positions. So the old MAMSA position may still be very helpful once in a while, so that you get to the village square and you speak to them and you mobilize them. Two things I'd like to emphasize as you gather for this retreat. All national orientation officers, you are leaders. Orientation people, you are all leaders. Because those you are speaking to, they are watching you, watching your lifestyle, watching your character, watching what you say, how you say it, where you say it, what you do, what you are engaged in. Therefore, you are role models. And if you have to earn your right to be listened to, you have to be excellent role models. I wish you well. I know you will do well. I know you would excel. You will do much better than we ever did in our time. And God will direct you. Under your orientation, Nigeria will go correctly. Can I hear your amen? Nigeria will survive. Nigeria will excel. Nigeria will develop. We shall all be proud of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Can I hear your amen?
Thank you very much. Please, let's keep the applause going for Professor Jerry Gana. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We're continuing with the goodwill messages. And it gives me special honor and privilege to invite another former Director General of the National Orientation Agency, by which time the name of this organization had become the National Orientation Agency. Let's welcome Professor Tony Iredia. No, you're welcome. Thank you, sir. Watch it. Okay.
Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, distinguished Senator, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I believe this retreat is for you, so we shouldn't take your time. All we need to do now is to just wish you well. The last speaker has spoken what I think we should all say, and he has added to it the aspect of sermonizing, because you know he's also a pastor. Now, let me just say that there are one or two points I gathered this morning when I entered here. The first is that for once, you have a very vibrant Director General. How did I know? Not from his speech, but from the applause when he was coming up. DG, it looks like you are giving something to the staff. So if you are a leader, you lead well. Now the second I have just gathered this morning is that there is a very interesting and cordial relationship between the NOA and the minister. Many years ago, if you were doing an event, this is probably when the minister will be coming. Or when he comes, he will tell us that somebody is coming to represent him. But minister is not only here, he's here before the takeoff. I'm happy that former Directors General are all here, with just a few not here. Now, to give one or two suggestions, I think, following from what Professor Gana has just said, it's always good for a man to focus more on his strength than on what every other person can do. The strength of NOA, in my humble opinion, is the house-to-house campaign. There is nothing wrong with having radio and TV, but you won't be able to compete with TV people because that's all they do for their life. They can't compete with you in house-to-house campaign. That is your strength, and you should focus on it. You should ensure that Nigerians are well informed and educated. Because in spite of development and growth, we still have a very large proportion of Nigerians that you can call illiterate. The percentage is still higher on that side. There are many people who don't understand the Queen's English that we speak. They only understand the local language. Secondly, they also understand the person they see. When I was Director General of NOA, I went to Lagos to speak. By the time I finished speaking, everybody was clapping for me. On our way out, two men in front of me were saying, "Who is that man?" I said, "They don't know me." But if I were a local orientation officer by the name of Ajayi, when I speak, you say, "I believe." You say, "Why?" "Because the son of Ajayi said so." That means a lot of people have faith in what you tell them face to face. They also have faith in the opportunity of feedback. They can ask you questions, you can answer them, and they can get better educated on what you are trying to say. So I think that you should not lose that aspect of your work. I am not saying you should not do others. Please recognize that you are the owner of this aspect. Nobody can compete with you here. Focus on it. Finally, I'm not trying to follow Jerry Gana, although he was my leader. I'm going to leave you after this speech, because the DG will confirm that I was on my way to the airport when I was diverted here. I have a flight to catch in another hour. So I won't be here, but I believe that when I get back, I will come back to the agency to give my own paper. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Please, another round of applause for Professor Tony Iredia. You know, those of us who come from Edo State, we know those who are chiefs, and that not everybody becomes a chief in Benin Kingdom. So Professor Tony Iredia is not a chief, and I just said, you know, he hinted at it, and I said, yes, you are not a chief, sir. It's not as if he doesn't deserve to be a chief, but, you know, these things follow some protocols in Benin Kingdom. Most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we thank Professor Tony Iredia and the former DG of the National Orientation Agency. At this point, we wish to share another goodwill message, this time from another Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Alhaji Idi Farouk. We shall pass the microphone on to him where he is seated. Alhaji Idi Farouk. Thank you, sir.
Distinguished Minister, Honorable...
Is there a way we can beam? Is there a way we can beam the light on him, please? Technical people? The mic
is here. Mr. MC, one of the things I hate most is to give me the mic after two professors have spoken. Two professors, Jerry Gana and Tony Iredia, have spoken, and now you are giving one Alhaji to speak. What do I say? I recall that one time the National Assembly, on their oversight function, distinguished senator, requested that they are coming to oversight NOA. And it was specific. They wanted it in Lagos. I tried to explain, it was the House of Rep. I tried to explain that there is nothing in Lagos, but they insisted. So we carried it to Lagos. The director Lagos, I directed that he should organize a town hall meeting. And that's exactly what he did. So when they went to Lagos, they were confronted with the Ambassador Olusholas and the rest of them. And it was question time, question and no answer time. Because the questions is, how much are you making? They say your interest is bigger than your salary and all that. What I'm saying here, therefore, is that, like Tony Iredia said, the strength of the NOA is on the field. If you go to national television after your tour, you go to the studio where you'll be interviewed. The studio of the National Orientation Agency is in the streets and in the marketplace. So I want you to always remember that. And like I want you to note, like I've also told the Director General one of the first times we spoke, one or two times we spoke, I said you have a very strong array of resource persons in former directors general, former directors and the rest of them. Please use us as you can, because we are a family, and this family, as you can see, everybody is happy to see everybody. So it is my pleasure to congratulate the director and to say that in this Tinubu era, you are very, very lucky in the fact that the president himself as governor had told me when we met that he relies only on the reports from, he even called the name Kaka, who is the director of NOA Lagos. So on behalf of all of us here, I congratulate National Orientation Agency. And for those saying that you should crush National Orientation Agency, look at what you will be taking along. Over 774 directors. All of them directors, 37 directors, and about 774 deputy directors, who are all over here now. They are in the local governments. NOAA is a must-keep institution. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Alhaji Idi Farouk, we are indeed grateful for the intervention and for the words of wisdom you're sharing with the incumbent Director General of the National Orientation Agency. At this point, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, let us invite another former Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Dr. Mike Omeri. Thank you, sir. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Honorable Minister, sir, distinguished Chairman of the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation, Directors General of various agencies of government, my senior colleagues, and ancestors that just left, especially Jerry Gana and Professor Tony Iredia. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very proud of this agency simply because I know the mandate of the agency. And I also know that the agency has the requisite staff and capacity to deliver. So, but I am apprehensive because the last time I checked the report of the Oresanya panel, it listed NOA as one of those agencies that should be scrapped. In fact, I confronted him one time, and Honorable Minister, the biggest mistake any government will make is to scrap the National Orientation Agency. What they must do is to even promote the National Orientation Agency into a commission and place it directly under the president. The Department for Public Information in the US, which does similar work, is in the president's office in the White House. The Central Guidance Commission in China is the third most important agency. This is what it does. It is still relevant so long as human beings exist. The heritage, Canadian heritage, does the same thing. Please, strengthen NOA, support the staff, give them the training, and coming to talk about radio, I want to slightly disagree with my ancestors and Idi Farouk. When you establish, yes, the street is the studio of the NOA, but you need to complement what you are doing on the street. Today, it is narrow casting, and the TV stations that we have so many subject matters that they devote less time to orientation issues. Let people go to national orientation channels simply because they want to hear about their country and they want to contribute. So what you are doing for me is excellent, and I commend you for the choice, for the decision to do that. And Honorable Minister, please support them. He is only doing the right thing to transform Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Michael Omeri. The next Goodwill message is coming from the immediate past Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Dr. Garba Abari. Let's put our hands together for him, please. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Distinguished Chair of the Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation, the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Muhammad Idris, Chief Executives of agencies under the Ministry of Information and National Orientation, my brother, the Director General, Malam Larry Isa Onilu, past Director Generals here present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning, and I would want to extend my deep appreciation for the invitation to be part of this occasion this morning. A lot has already been said by previous speakers. I concur with all that has been said. Mine is only a word of encouragement, because the stakes are getting higher, so also are the challenges. Every aspect of our national life needs orientation. Every aspect needs orientation. And to this extent, therefore, the National Orientation Agency, with the robust structure and the capacitated staff, I am sure this orientation challenge that we are all going to be facing and that we are all must have to address will bring Nigeria to the desired direction and the desired destination. Every aspect of our national life must have to be touched on, especially given the new demography in the country. With over 90% of the population below the age of 50, this makes the new direction taken by the Orientation Agency today to deploy technology in reaching out a most appropriate response. I would want to seize this opportunity to once again congratulate and wish well the Director General and all staff of the NOA for this very remarkable, fantastic initiative. May it be well with our country. May it be well with our country. May it be well with the NOA. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. A round of applause once again, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, the Minister, distinguished guest,
Director General of the Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Professor Muhammad Bulama. Thank you also for your presence here this morning. Other recognitions?
Yes, other recognitions. May I recognize the presence of the representative of the Senior Special Advisor to the President on Community Engagement Northeast, representing Honorable Abdul Hamid Yaya Abba, who cannot be here because of the flood in Maduguri, represented by Mr. Piyaku Nuhubi. A round of applause, please.
Before we invite, sorry about that. Before we invite the Honorable Minister and Chair of this event, there is a short performance by two young Nigerians. They're taking just about 7 minutes of our time with spoken word performances.
Let us welcome Zakari Emmanuel. A round of applause, please. Make it to the stage. Spoken word poet.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. All protocols duly observed and courtesy extended. My name is Zakari Emmanuel Mekalma, but my friends call me Tuplai Zakari, and I'm a spoken word poet. But today, I want to wear a shoe of my best friend, Chinedu. Chinedu's mother is Yoruba. His father is Igbo. Chinedu said, "Oh no! Who could ever think I'll ever find love in the ancient city of Kano? Eating gurasa and furada but here we are. Love, they say, has a way of cutting across boundaries, breaking all strategies, and unifying divided countries." He said, but love, they say, has a way of breaking all boundaries, unifying divided countries, so listen to my eulogies. I found love up north. Who could ever think I'll be attracted to it like the fish in my mother's cooking pot? So I had to comfort. To let you all know that's where I find my comfort. I stay connected like a Wi-Fi and a hotspot. He said, Fatima, the woman of my dreams, the lover of my life. I'm tired of sneaking out of your house. I want to make it official and call you my wife. Fight for your love to the very end, and I need no gun, no rifle, and a knife. All I need is just strife. And then his Igbo friend said, Kai, one name. Do you know if you want to get married to a Hausa Fulani girl, you're going to be flogged? He said, it's all up in my head. 30 lashes of a cane, and that is making me scared. But my friends will say, no, but you won't marry Hausa Fulani girl. Bend down, made a flog you, my friend. Bend down, made a flog you, my friend. But he said, who would ever thought I'll ever get married to a Hausa Fulani girl? If you want to get married to a Hausa Fulani girl, bend down, made a flog you, my friend. 30 lashes of a cane, and that is making me scared. His friend said, you love her, right? He said, yes. Well, light and light, that's my Arewa princess. And her beauty so defined. Her beauty flows from Lake Chad down to the River Nile. And there she goes with a perfect smile, with a perfect style. She would say, who teach you this Hausa? You say, Ansakabatalele. He would say, Saraunia, where do you get your beauty from? Because your beauty flows from Lake Chad down to the River Nile. But here comes his mother. Hey, my son wants to get married to a Hausa Fulani girl. He even goes around with his wedding bell. I pray his wedding fails. But I always tell her, mother, irrespective of your color, your religion, or your political order, We all need each other in Nigeria to see life further. So life doesn't care who you are, what you do. As long as you stay through, God is going to see you through. And now it's 5 years down the line. And now I'm a grandfather. And here comes my beautiful granddaughter, Farida. And she said, Baba, it's beautiful to see you when you read your jarida. But just that moment when I was about to flip to the next page, my dad came and smite me on the head and be like, wake up, my friend. You've been sleeping for too long. And I realized that Fatima was just a figment of my imagination. She was a dream that never came through. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Very much. Thank you. Watch your feet. Thank you. We now invite another wordsmith, Kule Blessing. There's a mic there. Thank you. Take it easy. Thank you. Let's put our hands together for her, please.
I beg to stand on the existing protocol. I am so honored to be here. If your hands are not too busy, please bring out your phones and make a video of me, because I want you to take this message back home. In a small village, there lived a girl named Ene. She was known for her exceptional weaving skills. And so one day, the village chief approached her to weave a fabric. And so the very beautiful Ene set out to work. She carefully selected threads of different colors and textures. She chose the vibrant red of courage, the very beautiful blue of peace, and the radiant, very radiant yellow of hope. As she walked, she discovered that each thread had a story. Little by little, the beautiful girl formed a fabric, a beautiful tapestry of diversity and unity. Just when she finished, a strong wind blew and wanted to destroy her work, but she held on tight, knowing that the fabric was stronger than its individual threads. Today, we are seated here as a nation, a fabric woven from different threads. We are the Igbos, the Yorubas, the Hausas, the Idomas, the Tiv, and so many other tribes. We are the Christians, we are the Muslims, we are the traditional worshippers. We are young, we are old, some have disabilities, some are rich, and some are poor. Just like Ene's fabric, we are stronger with our differences. So let us weave a nation where every thread is valued, every voice is heard, and every story is told. Let us build a Nigeria where we recognize and celebrate our differences and find strength in unity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Kule Blessing. Thank you. I hope that we had a recording on our phone of the young lady who is urging us all to reorient ourselves and have a much more positive attitude to the Nigerian nation, state, and space. I thank you all, Mr. Chairman, distinguished Senator, Senate Chairman Committee on Information and National Orientation, former DGs of the National Orientation Agency, and our chief host, the Director General, Malam Lanre Saunilu. Thank you all very much. Ladies and gentlemen, permit me to recognize the presence of the Director Legal of the National Orientation Agency, Barrister Williams Dogo. Thank you. May we also specially recognize the Director General Services, Mrs. Rebecca Nasamu. Thank you. Dr. Ayola Abiodun Olufemi is the Director Headquarters. Thank you for being a part of this process. And of course, the Director Environment and Climate of the National Orientation Agency, Mr. Emeka Egboara. Thank you also for being a part of this strategic repositioning retreat of the National Orientation Agency. At this point, most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me special privilege and pleasure to invite our chairman, the Honorable Minister for Information and National Orientation of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Alhaji Muhammad Idris Malagi, for his special opening remarks. Honorable Minister, sir.
Can we please observe a minute silence to identify with the people of Borno State over what has happened in the course of last few days. The people of Borno State. Very much. You may be seated. We pray that they find succor very soon. The chairman, Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation, Senator Kenneth Okonkwo, good to see you and thank you for being here. Thank you for the work you are doing, and your presence here underscores the very cordial relationship that exists between the ministry and the National Assembly. And I want to put it on record here that Senator Kenneth Okonkwo and indeed the entire leadership of the National Assembly have been extremely supportive of the work of the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation. Thank you very much for everything that you are doing. I wish I had my uncle, Professor Jerry Gana. Dr. Mike Omeri called him his ancestors. I call him the Oracle. I had hoped that the two professors, Professor Tony Iredia and Professor Jerry Gana, were here. Professor Jerry Gana has left a very big shoe, and we will try to see if we can at least go to the middle of that shoe, because it's not easy to really fill the shoe that Professor Jerry Gana has left, but we'll try to do that. By the way, for those of you who may not know, we come from the same senatorial district with Professor Jerry Gana. I had also hoped that Professor Tony Iredia was here when I'm delivering this remark, but I understand he also had to go. We thank him nonetheless for finding time to be here. Now, let me say something that, even though it has been put forward, the National Orientation Agency has been able to put together not less than 5 of its former heads in this place. I think this is very, very remarkable. It shows the kind of connection that exists between those who have served at the leadership of the National Orientation Agency and what is happening at the National Orientation Agency here today. And thank you Director General, for ensuring that you are tapping from the wisdom of those who have come before you. I think this is the direction that we should all go in this country. I recall that a few months ago, the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations had a function at the Transcorp Hilton in Abuja here. And for the first time, we had 5 former ministers of information gathered. Today, the National Orientation Agency has equaled that feat. I think the Ministry of Information and National Orientation is a trailblazer in that regard, and we must recognize that and continue to do that. So thank you, former Director General, my brothers, my elder brother, Alhaji Idi Farouk, Dr. Garba Abari, Dr. Mike Mary. Thank you, the Directors General of the agencies under the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, for being here. It is my pleasure to be here with you at this expanded management retreat of the National Orientation Agency, one of the agencies under the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation. 11 months ago, I paid a formal visit to the headquarters of the NOA. My brother, Dr. Garba Abari, was the leader at that time. During that visit, I told the members of the National Orientation Agency the direction that the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is going in terms of reorienting the values of all Nigerians. And I think what we are seeing today is a testament in that regard. In the time since then, so much has changed at the agency. There is a new DG now who assumed office very shortly after that inaugural visit of mine, and who has put in a lot of work to reposition. I'm being told that we don't need to use that word, but I'll take the liberty to use it, to reposition and re-energize the agency to align with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda and with the impactful vision of the founding fathers of the agency. Let me quickly seize the opportunity to especially recognize and commend the effort of the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mr. Lanre Issa Onilu, and his management. Your efforts are indeed yielding results and being attested to within and outside the institution itself. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the National Orientation Agency no doubt plays a very crucial role within the framework of information management, citizens' engagement, and civic values in Nigeria. Since its establishment, the NOA has earned a reputation as one of the most grassroots-oriented public agencies in the country. And I'm happy that Professor Tony Iredia made that point, that the National Orientation Agency is in the forefront in that connection between government and those at the grassroots. And we do hope, in addition with other methods that they will evolve, will continue in that direction. In accomplishing its mandate, the National Orientation Agency has become one of the most vital and essential tools for shaping national narratives and conversations, promoting unity against a backdrop of diversity, and fostering a sense of inclusiveness and belonging in every part of the country. As the world has evolved, especially in the areas of globalization and technological innovation, so have the demands and expectations confronting the National Orientation Agency. The methods and strategies that may have been essential yesterday may not necessarily be very effective today. Now, this is not to discount the wise counsel of the oracles, the ancestors that have left, that there's a need for them to keep to that tradition. It therefore becomes very important to stay in tune at all times and with the attitudes and expectation of all stakeholders in this journey. I am pleased to note that the NOA, under the leadership of Mr. Lanre Issa Onilu, has prioritized technology in the work of the agency in keeping with the realities of the 21st century. The NOA has become one of the most technology-compliant agencies in Nigeria today, taking the lead in the deployment of digital tools and technologies. The example that the DG himself has given of the Mobilizer app, as well as a well-received artificial intelligence platform for civic awareness and engagement, among other initiatives. The agency has also breathed life into its engagements and partnerships with stakeholders within and outside government, setting a worthy example for other MDAs to follow. When I paid my maiden visit to the NOA in October of 2023, I recall saying that I look forward to working with the agency to, and I quote, kickstart on the President's directives a nationwide reorientation and reawakening campaign, and I'll be requiring a comprehensive roadmap from you within the shortest possible time. You already have the experience of doing this, as well as the skills and the enthusiasm to do so, end of quote. I am delighted, therefore, today to say that we have since then gone very far in this regard, producing a brand new national values charter for our dear country, in line with the President's commitment to a moral, ethical, and cultural reawakening across the land, and the entrenchment of the right values, attitudes, habits, and perspectives deep in the hands and minds of the people of this great nation. The National Values Charter, one of the flagship initiatives of the Ministry of Information and National Orientation through the National Orientation Agency, has been carefully crafted and designed to accomplish two primary objectives. One, to ensure that all Nigerians are fully aware of their rights and protections under the Constitution and the laws of the land, and that governments at all levels are equally aware of all the constitutionally guaranteed obligations that they have to the citizenry. The first goal is encapsulated in the 7 core promises of the Charter. Second, to sensitize and awaken all Nigerians to all of our responsibilities as citizens of this great and beautiful country, which means the responsibilities that we have not just to one another, but also to the government and the nation, is important in keeping this nation going. This second goal is captured in the 7 commitments aspects of the Values Charter. The Charter, therefore, nicely balances the rights and responsibilities within the democratic context that our country proudly upholds. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the journey of a lasting transformation has just commenced. It won't be an easy one, of course, just as we are not a people who give up in the face of challenges and obstacles. Nigerians are known to be extremely resilient, and the NOA will prove that in the months and years from now. We will press forward boldly and confidently until we are able to fully unlock the Nigeria of our dreams, a country where citizen and country share deep mutual love and respect for each other. Let us at this moment in time rededicate ourselves to this very lofty ambition. This retreat, therefore, is a step in that direction, offering us yet another opportunity to refine the vision and to redouble our effort as we advance on a journey that has unlimited potential to shape the future of our country. In closing, I would like to wish us all insightful proceedings and deliberations in this all-important retreat. It is my hope and expectation that all of the outcomes of this gathering will be faithfully implemented. I thank you for your kind attention. It is truly a pleasure to be here today. Thank you very much.
Please, let's keep the applause going for the Honorable Minister. Thank you, Chairman of this program, the strategic reposition of the National Orientation Agency, and the charge that you have given the National Orientation Agency, from the Director General down to the directors, state directors, and the assistant directors in the 774 local government areas across the Nigerian nation state and space. Thank you. Most distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue with the program in a moment as we invite Mr. Celestin Achi, a renowned expert in digital communications and artificial intelligence, to speak to us on showcasing the AI platform of the National Orientation Agency. And when we would have spoken, we'd also have a panel of discussants to weigh in on it. So as we invite him to join us here, we also wish to graciously invite our panelists who will be speaking to the issues that Mr. We'd invite you all up later on, but meanwhile we'll hear from Mr. Celestin Achi. So we recognize your presence, Mr. Professor Abiodun Adeniyi. Thank you for being a part of it. Please, just we'll invite you up later. Dr. Tive Igbuzo, we also recognize your presence. Thank you very much. We also specially recognize the presence of Dr. Monday Ekpe of the University of Abuja. Thank you. Dr. Umar Binder, former DG NONTAP, former special advisor to the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, former SSG, Adamawa State, is here with us as well. We recognize your presence. So we'll hear from Mr. Celestin Achi before we invite the distinguished senator to also speak to us in a moment. Please, let's hear from Mr. Celestin Achi. Thank you, sir. Sorry, we kept you waiting.
All right, I would be doing this.
You do it artificially and intelligently. Please, our apologies for the slight mix-up in the order of proceedings. We shall invite Mr. Celestin Achi a little later on to make his presentation. It will be a fairly lengthy one. But we have been mandated specially to recognize our employers, our fathers, those who are representing us, those we sent out here to represent us at the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are particularly honored that distinguished Senator Engineer Eze Kenneth Emeka is here with us, the Chairman, Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation. Please, let's invite him for special remarks from the National Assembly. Let's put our hands together for him, please.
Thank you very much. MC, if I hadn't spoken here, then I would have been waiting for you at the National Assembly, including your DG. But let me most respectfully recognize the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, a very workaholic minister. People are commending the DGs, but they didn't know it is the handwork of the Honorable Minister. And there is one tradition I recognize in the ministry, that in any function that any of the DGs is doing, all the former DGs are always present. And this is not an exception. Having said that, let me thank the Director General of NOAA and other Director Generals that are here present, and to thank the former Director Generals for honoring the invitation. Because one thing is to invite somebody, another one is for the person to honor it. I commend you people highly. It shows the family bond that existed in the ministry over years. Having said that, let me thank all the directors across the country that are here present. It shows that you are taking clue from the orientation that we expect from the ministry and the DG to direct the country on the way forward. Having said that, I must thank the Director General for this retreat. It's quite apt and timely, especially at this time of our national development. But many people have spoken and commended him. I will be telling him that he has enormous task in his hand, considering the particular time he assumed office. It is a time that his services is needed most. It is needed because the country, the public need a lot of sensitization and orientation for what is going on in our national development, the condition of the economy, insecurity, and other vices that has bedeviled us. Much is expected from national orientation to sensitize the public on the reality of times. And that reality is that government is doing so much, but what they are doing is not being known at the grassroots. And that's why I agree with those that have spoken, like Professor Jerry Gana and other professors. The minister said they would have loved him to be here. I would have equally loved him to be here because he called him Oracle. Iredia called him ancestor. I called him grandfather of National Orientation Agency. He's a great man indeed. Because when we are young, we know about MAMSA, and MAMSA really imparted on the fabric of the nation. But I must tell you one thing, Director General. We must match it with the reality of time. The reality is we are in the digital age, irrespective of the fact we embark on the house-to-house campaign and the sensitization. We must have to take advantage of the digital world that we find ourselves today and use that platform to disseminate the information. Having said all that, you still have a lot of work. Because as you engage with the public, you have to devise a feedback mechanism to the country, to the executive, where you get information from the masses, you know what they need, having engaged with them, and transfer it back to the executive. Meaning that I will be recommending in this retreat that you have to study your act that established you people so that you can tighten the loose end. It's so dynamic. The field you play in is very dynamic because you are dealing with human beings. So let this retreat take it out and study. Let it be one of your paramount objectives that you have to look at your proposal. Bring up a proposal to National Assembly. I assure you that we are going to make it work. But it is this law that will enable you to do all your work. You realize so many innovations in the agency, But most of those you can't function without an act that can give you the enabling power to really function effectively. And I want to assure the National Assembly is there to give you all the needed support. Once again, I want to thank all of you and wish you happy deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, let's keep the applause going for distinguished Senator and Chairman, Senate Committee on Information and National Orientation. Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we'll continue with the rest of the program as established, as we this time around invite the panelists to take their place up here while we get Mr. Celestin Achi to speak to us on showcasing the National Orientation Agency AI platform. Please, may we invite our panelists to be up standing and to join us up at this end of the hall and take their seats. Please, can we welcome the Dean, Postgraduate Studies at Bayes University, Abuja, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, to please step forth. May we also invite and welcome the former Chief of Staff to the Deputy Senate President, Dr. Utive Iguzo, to please also join us at this end of the hall. Our ushers, please, could you lead our panelists up here, please? We also invite a lecturer at the University of Abuja, Dr. Monday Ekpe, to also join along with us, please. Dr. Monday Ekpe. I've not seen him in a long while. Where are you? Aha, that's it. Please join me as we also welcome Dr. Umar Binder. Dr. Umar Binder, please. Thank you very much, sir. Former Secretary to Government, former DG in Northam, former Special Advisor, Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, is gracing us with his distinguished presence here this morning. Thank you. At this point, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, join me as we welcome the Chief Executive Officer of SIHAN, a renowned expert in digital communications and artificial intelligence, Mr. Celestin Achi. We welcome you once more, once again. Thank you. Thank you for your patience and attention. Thank you. I think this does it. You don't need this, you say?
I will just use it. Your Excellency, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. The DG, Malam O'Neill, thank you for inviting me. Other DGs here present. Again, my name is Celestin Achi, and I will just be taking us, we'll just be having a short conversation on some of the reasons why we are here. Now, Warren Buffett said that leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality. The question is, what is that vision? I don't know if you have my presentation up. We are in what I call a world of convergence. A world of convergence. Now, when I had the last session with NOA staff, there was one question I asked, and the question was, who are the key or primary audience of the National Orientation Agency, both internal and external. But I tilted more towards the external audience. And yes, we are in a world of convergence, but then when you begin to look at the statistics, which I'm going to share before I move into what NOA has enabled for the nation, this is just to create a foundation so you understand exactly where we are and the reason for the digitization of NOA at this time under the visionary leadership of the DG. Do we have it now? Okay. Statistics have it that, especially when we look at the statistics from We Are Social, an authoritative platform, it has it that over 56%, or rather 56.7% exactly, of the audience we have in Nigeria are basically youths. And by youths, I'm talking about Gen Alphas, Gen Zs, and Millennials. And I really wish we can have our presentation because I want to speak to it so that you understand exactly where we are coming from and where we are today. But then we were called and we looked at the pain points of the National Orientation Agency. And one of the pain points is, how do they effectively and efficiently deliver on their given mandate? And that was why I started by saying, who are the primary audience? In every audience segmentation, you have the primary audience, you have the secondary audience, and you have the tertiary audience. But when we look at the statistics, the primary audience remains the youths because they form a larger proportion of the audience. Again, when we look at the statistics from We Are Social, we also see the rising numbers that are on digital platform. But the question arises, how about those who are in the most rural areas who do not have technology or who don't have access to technology? And that's why we say we are in a world of what? Convergence. And what we have built actually integrates the two systems together. Let's go to the slide, please. I hope you can see. Okay, you won't be able to see the slides. So we are asked to develop and implement an advanced AI solution. An advanced AI solution to enhance the NOA's capability in public enlightenment, public engagement, and seamless integration of AI technology. And here's what we did. Next slide. No, next slide, please. Now, the objective of what we did are fivefold. One, to improve access to information and service for citizens. Two, to enhance efficiency and effectiveness of NOA's operations in the 774 local government areas of the Federation. Three, to strengthen NOA's outreach and impact. Four, to increase citizen engagement and what? Participation in national development. And there's this cliche. I don't know if I should call it a cliche, but there's this phrase I always love to use. It's called communicating without communication. Communicating without what? Communication. So most times, most government agencies speak in an echo chamber, not in an ecosystem. And when you speak in an echo chamber, what happens? You are probably speaking to yourself. And we consider all this in ensuring that whatever we build addresses all these issues. Next slide. Next slide. Let's just go to the statistics. Okay. Now there is need to understand the Nigerian youth target group, who I say are our primary target audience by statistics. And they drive on 5 mega themes: power of belief, power of creativity, power of commonality, and power of sense and sensitivity. I'm going to break it down so we begin to understand. Next slide. Next slide, please. Can we move fast? Now, let's look at the statistics. Us a background, so you understand exactly the essence of this digitization. Now, this is the state of digital in Nigeria in 2024. There were 103 million internet users in Nigeria at the start of 2024. At the start of 2024, when internet penetration stood at 45.5%. A total of 205.4 million cellular mobile connections were active in Nigeria in early 2024, which is January 2024. With this figure equivalent to 90.7%. Of course, that is without doubt that some of us use 2 mobile phones or 3 mobile phones connected to the internet. Now, KPIO's analysis indicates that internet users in Nigeria increased by 2.2 million in January, between January 2023 and 2024. For perspective, these user figures reveal that 123.4 million
sorry for the intervention. We are running a baseline survey to gauge the understanding of our directors from across the country on this NOA AI platform. And so the Planning, Research and Strategy Department has advised that all directors should scan the QR code. It's going to be projected on the screen shortly. That code will lead you to a form which you are expected to fill online, you know, to create a baseline understanding of what capacity we have before, and so that we can gauge after. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, for perspectives, these user figures reveal that 123.4 million people in Nigeria did not use the internet at the start of 2024. But between the recent figure I got, between that time and yesterday, the figures have changed. In fact, between the last time I was with NOA, which was, I think, about a month or 6 weeks ago, the figures have drastically changed. And today, we are not talking about 123.4 million. The figures have gone higher. But the funny thing is this. In early 2024, it is recorded that there are what? 205.4 million cellular mobile connections that are today connected to the internet. But let's break it down to the next slide. When we look at the gender distribution, 49.4% of the audience we are talking about are females, while 50.6% of these are male. Now to the real conversation on the next slide, as we are going to see. Next slide, please. Now, if you look at the age distribution of the population, it's essential we lay this foundation. If you look at the age distribution of the population, you could see where the numbers are. The numbers actually, in fact, affirmed what we have been talking about. That the primary target audience of NOA remains Gen Zs and the millennials. And whether you and I like it or yes, that is the reality for today. Next slide. Okay, before then, if you look at the top types of websites, these numbers, these huge numbers, visit in the next slide, you will see that they are chat and messaging platform. You and I probably before now think they are, next slide please. You and I probably before now think that they are on social media. Okay, but from the statistics, from the authoritative We Are Social, the top type of website they visit are chat and messaging apps. Chat and messaging apps taking about 3% of the time they spend on the internet. And this is what also informed one of the platforms or one of the technology that NOA has introduced. In a matter of 3 months, apart from the mobilizer, NOA has added 6 other platforms, which I'm going to talk through with us. Next slide. Now, if you also look at the main reasons why they are on the internet, or why they use the social media, or why they even use the dark social, you will see, especially my focus, our focus should be on point 2 and point 3. They spend time reading news stories and filling spare time. And one of the vision of NOA is that they would rather spend time on one of the platforms that we built, which is the mobilizer and the hackathon, which I'm going to break down shortly. Next slide. Now, if you also look at this, the most used social media platforms remain WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, then TikTok. Our vision is that from now till next year, probably we'll begin to see mobilizer and clean, or even the hackathon platform, on the mix of the dark social that Nigerians, especially our youths, will visit more often. Next slide. Now, this is our overarching communication strategy that formed the basis of what was built, or what NOA has delivered to Nigerians. One is to connect NOA to the powers that drive youth culture and trends. 2 is to promote the Nigeria story, the nation story, using momentum story mining and transmedia storytelling. Because like I said, we are in a converged era. Then 3 is, of course, to protect the reputation of the nation, and I call it reputation reinforcement programming. Next slide. Now, this is a big idea. What is a big idea? And the big idea is the explainer, helping you make sense of government initiatives. Helping you what? Make sense of government initiatives. Next slide. So, NOA came up with 6 different platforms. And I will shortly tell you exactly what they do before we go to the platforms. The first platform is what I call the curator. And what is the essence of the curator? Today, gone are the days whereby you curate database. The data of Nigerians. Gone are the days where you curate them physically. Today, just with a click of the button, NOA in the 774 local governments can now curate data of artisans, of Nigerians, whether they are HNI, whether they are the master damnatas, whether they are artisans and what have you. They can now do it digitally using what I call the digitization platform. It's a curator. Meaning that whether they are offline, wherever they are in the 774 local governments, they can easily do what? Curate the data of anyone or the residents of that community seamlessly. Even while we are seated here, by just scanning a code, not this code, they will probably display that code. By just scanning that code, you get the digitization form. And as you fill it, it curates in the digitization platform seamlessly. Seamlessly. And the idea for this is to ensure that there is a proper segmented demography that will show not just the names of the leads, but also segment them serially. Next slide. Then we have the collaborator. Now you will agree with me that the only way it will be easy for NOA to deliver on their mandate is if they collaborate seamlessly with all the MDAs. So the question arises, how can NOA as a government agency collaborate effectively with all the ministries and all the MDAs in Nigeria seamlessly? So we came up with the collaborator tool. And what does it do? Simple. It integrates every agency in Nigeria. It integrates every ministry in Nigeria into one single platform where they can share ideas, share their initiatives, and share their programs so that NOA can further help them to do what? To tell the story as it should be told. And that is one of the ideas of the collaborator. So we have the network, we have the output, and we have the up, which is more of an integration of all the system called Nigeria. So it's more of a strategic pillar to connect with other MPs and partners. Next slide. Then we have the content factory. Under the content factory, we have 4 basic platforms. The first platform is the NOA TV. The NOA TV studio, which the DG effectively spoke to. The second one, under the content factory, is the NOA podcast or radio, as the case may be. Meaning that seamlessly, NOA can now do what? Podcast or broadcast their audio materials or audio story to the Nigeria and the global community. Then the third one is what I call the explainer. Of course, we all know the explainer. One of the things that are spoken lightly for the explainer, for the NOA is the explainer. And from the last audit we did, I mean, I can say authoritatively that the explainer is today in Nigeria the most engaged communication tool that the Nigerian government has ever deployed. The most engaged. I did a comparative analysis to look at using what I call natural language processing, to look at where the engagement and the awareness is coming from. And it's nothing but the explainer. So even though the explainer has its limitation in terms of reaching those who are not online, but the fact remains that it's reaching millions of Nigerians. Then, the next slide. Sorry, and under the content factory, NOA today, unlike most ministries and agencies, can now stream live their event using their own local developed tool. Please clap for them. Then we have the Mobilizer Hub. The Mobilizer Hub is an immersive platform. And what is the idea? Remember that I said one of the vision is to connect with the power that drive youth culture and trends. And therefore, the Mobilizer and the Hackathon seems to do that. And I'll probably tell you the idea behind these two platforms. Now, how do we attract the youth culture or the youth in Nigeria to learn more about Nigeria? How do we engage with them? How do we get the required feedback? And that's why we said, let's get them what they love. And therefore, the DG thought about the Mobilizer and the Hackathon. And what is it about? We tell you, we ask you questions about Nigeria. And of course, you get some incentives. And we have seen that the test pilots we did, many youths tend to engage with the platforms. I have not even talked about clean. Now, I think let's go to the website, so you understand exactly what has been done for you to know the essence. Can we go to the slide? Now, what we essentially did in summary is to turn NOA website to what I call AI-powered engine. AI-powered engine. And the lead engine here is what we call clean. Today, all of us combined, let us put together, and again, I say this authoritatively, let's put together all the professors in Nigeria against clean, and you'll be amazed at how vast clean is. In fact, we became so scared because clean was meant to be an artificial narrow intelligence tool. But it has become autonomous. And what do I mean? Clean was trained to understand government policies, programs, and initiatives through the documents, database, files that we have trained it with. But we soon realized that there were so many things, in quotes, that Clean was not trained on. And we were so surprised that even to the details, to the names of some staff in NOA, Clean was what? Delivering it seamlessly. Today, anybody, for instance, as we are seated, I'm sure none of us can understand. In a day, you cannot read and understand the value charter. The value charter document. You cannot. You need some days. But with Clean, simply engaging Clean. Simply engaging Clean. Whether it is the voice intelligent tool or the chat intelligent tool, you could do what? Easily digest what the value charter is all about. In other words, there is no government policy today that you want to know or ask about or get information on that you cannot get it where? Using Clean. Either engaging it as if you are conversing or chatting with Clean. We would have done some demonstration. Let's do some demonstration so you understand. Let's start with the chat Clean. Okay. Sir, is there any question you want to ask? Let's start with that. Okay, please, just be free to ask any question. Okay. How can I assist you? Okay. Can you ask a question on Clean? Ask Clean any question, please. How can I access government empowerment program? How can I access government empowerment program? That's the question from one of us. How can I access government empowerment program? Now, let's see what Clean will respond. Now, look at it. It will break it down in digestible bits, telling you exactly how you can access government empowerment program. In fact, the funny one was, there was, I think, the explainer edition of, I think, is it the 20th edition or 21st edition? That talks about the government student loan scheme. I shared it on the platform, and they were asking questions. And all I said is, look, go to Clean and ask all the questions that you want to ask. And the person came back thanking me forever. So what I'm saying in essence, we all seated here, okay? Clean is now what I call your bona fide Nigerian partner that can tell you every and anything about government policies, government initiatives, and government programs. And that is Clean. So you can see that it gives you that, and it also gives you the link you can also visit to get more information. Then let's go to the media center, or let's go to the hackathon first of all. Then we have the hackathon program, the hackathon platform. Now, this is simply what I told you about. Okay? NOA can now run national quizzes, photo hackathon, essay hackathon, and even video hackathon. But let's focus on the essay quizzes. The NOA quizzes. Can you go down? Yes, you can click on it. Now, these are the past quizzes that NOA has done as a pilot scheme. And we had thousands of Nigerians, especially the youth demography, engaging NOA on this platform just to win. And in doing so, they began to learn more about what? what Nigeria is actually doing. Not just that. Not just that. Now, in this platform, so we are saying it's not about winning or losing. The idea is this: even if you fail or you are not sure of a program, you are allowed to do what? To go to clean and ask, what is the answer to this question I do not know? It's meant to be educative. It's meant to be engaging. It's not meant to know who is the smartest. No, no, no. The idea is to educate Nigerians by giving them that platform and that interest. And that is because we are in what I call the attention economy. And it's important to gain their attention. And I think we'll be running some quiz tomorrow for those who want to win some prizes. Of course, to know your knowledge of Nigeria. So let's go to the digitization platform. Okay. Okay, let's go to the, yes. This is a digitization platform. Okay, you have the access management feature. You have the MDAs feature. Click on the MDAs. Here you have ministries and agencies. So all the agencies in Nigeria are already onboarded on this platform. Then you have groups. Go to groups. These are Nigerians of different groups, pan-Nigeria across the nation, from their name to their to what they do. Of course, they have not been grouped. You have the women group, you have transporters, you have cooperative society, you have the disabled, you have women group. All of them are already onboarded on the platform, and more Nigerians will be onboarded. And of course, you have the demographic feature. Then you have location. But I think let's focus on go to biodata. Now, this is the biodata, and this is simply how it works. Click on action. Yes, click on that. So you can see it. It's digitized. Now, anyone that fills this form, the person's data automatically aggregates on the back end that is accessible to the agency. And this same link can also be shared across board. So if right now we share this link and you fill this form, automatically it aggregates, not just on the digitization platform, but also accessible on the visualizer platform, which we are going to get to shortly. But this makes it possible for you to do what? Curate leads, curate contacts of artisans and different demographic segments that you want to onboard on the digitization platform. So let's go to the collaboration tool. Now, it's important you look at this carefully. This is the collaboration platform. It's not just for the external audience of NOA, but it's also for the internal audience, especially the directors across the 774 local governments, the 36 states of the Federation. So in the collaboration platform, every staff, every MDA is added as a user. The next component is the file component, meaning that if you want to share a file, for instance, with the RPS team or the research team, all you need to do, once you have been added as a user, is to upload the data, and it becomes accessible to those that it needs to be that needs to access it. Now you have the group. At this group, the directors are divided into different zones. The directors can choose and say, this is how we share information. And this is how we deliver the shared information to the headquarters, where the report can now be generated. Okay? So this is it. It works more like WhatsApp. Meaning that the same way you engage on WhatsApp, the same way you share file on WhatsApp,
Welcome back from the
same way you create groups on WhatsApp,
we'll now continue
that
with our
can
regular
also be done
Stay
here.
tuned.
Click on the MDA.
It's comfortable.
This development will go a long way in reducing congestion and emission.
The trains are long-term solution to Lagos traffic challenges.
This is where we take the final, decisions on policies, programs of government that will have to ensure that, the narration of Lagos as a PLC is taken very, very seriously.
This is a major pedestrian bridge linking Oyinbo here to Apapa Road.